Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by
Secure Testing Services, providing 24-hour on-site drug and alcohol testing for businesses.
and by
Clean water is one of our most valuable resources. Conserving it should be all of our responsibility. Remember every day to make every drop count. Wash full loads, take shorter showers, turn off your faucet. Water, use it wisely. Let's commit to conserve.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Flying Squirrels Insider. I'm Trey Wilson alongside Jake Eisenberg, and it's time for us to take a look at everything that's been going on of late with the Richmond Flying Squirrels. Utility Buddy from the City of Richmond Department of Public Utilities makes us aware of rain that falls on hard surfaces can pick up pollutants and carry them to Richmond's waterways without being treated. Help keep our waterways staying clean. Call 646-7000 or visit richmondgov.com and click Stormwater Utility. Text to win free Flying Squirrel stuff. Text FSI to 63975. Message and data rates apply. Mobile services provided by Opt-in Technologies. Well, the Flying Squirrels, Jake, just finished up a long stretch of road games and are back home playing right now. And the first half of the 2019 season is starting to wind to a close, and the standings at this point locked in. And really for the next week or so, playing just to trying to get some momentum going into the second half.
Yeah, first half ends on June 18th. Second half begins on June 19th. This is the first season that the Eastern League is going to this split season format. So it's the first time in Eastern League history that we have a first half champion. Harrisburg Senators are the first half champions in the Western Division. They
clinched that in Richmond this week. The Harrisburg Senators locked up a playoff spot. They're going to the playoffs for the first time since 2013. And in the second half of the year, the Flying Squirrels will see if they can make a run to get back to the postseason for the first time since 2014. And the second half of the season officially begins on Wednesday, June 19th, so coming up very soon. Well, this past week we saw one of the most interesting games that you'll ever see in your life. If you watch, both of us have seen together probably a couple thousand baseball games in professional ball, and the game with the no-hitter going into extra innings. Have you ever seen anything like that?
So I've only seen it once before in my entire life, but I've never seen it at the professional level. It's interesting. It was a bit bittersweet for the Harrisburg Senators. They ended up losing the game, but they did clinch the division on the same night. But the Flying Squirrels, no hit through 9 in the third innings, and then they come away with a walk-off win on the lone hit of the ball game.
Jalen Miller came through with an RBI walk-off single in the bottom of the 10th inning. It was the only hit of the game for the Flying Squirrels, who also got one hit earlier in the week. So the hits have been a little bit harder to come by in some games, but overall the Flying Squirrels are playing a little bit closer to 500 baseball of late as we start to wind down this first half of the season. Speaking of Jalen Miller, he's been on a nice stretch. He picked up his team-leading 27th RBI with that walk-off winning hit on Wednesday night.
Yeah, well, sometimes you only need just the one hit and the one RBI to come away with a win. It was a 1-0 win for the Flying Squirrels. Jalen Miller has been a centerpiece for this Flying Squirrels offense all season long. You mentioned team-leading 27 RBIs. He's been playing second base. He's been batting third pretty much every single night for Richmond.
Another player who's been hot here of late, and probably the hottest in really all of minor league baseball there for a few games, Zach Houchins, who was just signed as a free agent just a few weeks ago, and he was a little slow to start when he first joined the Flying Squirrels, but he caught fire in a big way on this past long road trip through the Northeast.
Yeah, over those 11 games, Zach Houchins was hitting .366, hit 5 home runs, had 15 RBIs on the road trip. Eastern League Player of the Week honors for Zach Houchins, and very much deserved. He's been on a completely different level than the rest of the team and really the rest of the league for the last couple of weeks now.
For the 7 days that got him the Player of the Week award, Houchins hit .423 with 4 homers and 12 RBIs in just 7 games. It's a stretch unlike we've seen from anybody else over this season. On the road trip as well, another thing that we saw that was kind of new for the Flying Squirrels was Stolen bases. The Flying Squirrels have a manager who stole a lot of bases in his career, and now they're starting to take after him some. They're leading the Eastern League this year with 64 steals.
Yeah, when you look at the top of the Flying Squirrels leaderboard in terms of stolen bases, you've got Janesh Fargas, he's got 21. You've got Jalen Miller, he just picked up his 18th steal of the year. Fargas stole his 200th career base during the road trip, and he also stole 4 bases in a single game. That's second most in franchise history.
The Flying Squirrels had 21 stolen bases on the last road trip in a span of just 11 games. So quite a stretch for the Steels there. They had a couple games with none, so that shows how many they were able to rack up. Janesh Fargas, we talked about him, and the first thing that comes to mind of late is the stolen bases. He now has 21, which is leading the Eastern League by a good bit. Second is Jalen Miller. He stole 4 bases in one game on that road trip as well. Went 10 for 12 in steal attempts on that road trip.
I think what's been interesting to watch with Janesh Fargas is how aggressive he's been on the base pass. That's something that he's been getting from manager Willie Harris, who played like that when he was in the big league. That's trickled down to Janesh Fargas and Jalen Miller, and Fargas is going for his second consecutive stolen base crown in the league. He had the California League lead in steals last year.
Yeah, 40-plus stolen base season for him there. Another Flying Squirrels player who has been steadily atop the leaderboards in the Eastern League this season is Jacob Hayward, who just continues to get on base.
Yeah, Jacob Hayward's been very interesting this season. When you take a look at some of the numbers that he has, he's top 5 in the league in walk rate. He's top 5 in the league in strikeout rate. He's also top 10 in the league in batting average on balls in play. So anytime he comes to the plate, it's either going to be a walk, a strikeout, or a hit. He's really not putting the ball in play too much without getting a hit. That's something you don't see too often, and it's been really interesting to watch him kind of navigate that at the plate.
Brandon Van Horn, who's going to join us a little bit later on in the show, he had a good stretch, hitting .324 over 12 games from May 19th through June 2nd, so it's been good to see him start to see some hits fall.
Yeah, Brandon was kind of shuffled around a little bit at the beginning of the month of May. He was in San Jose, then in Sacramento, then rejoined the Flying Squirrels, but he's starting to find his stride a little bit at the AA level. He's now been on base 13 of his last 20 games. He's becoming a more consistent presence at the plate as well.
Connor Menez was one of the best pitchers in the Eastern League this season. We dubbed him pretty easily the ace of this starting rotation for the first part of the year. Well, he's gone now. We're happy for him. He's gone off to AAA Sacramento. Menez leaves the Flying Squirrels with a franchise record 10.91 strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. If he doesn't pitch another game for the Flying Squirrels, that is by a pretty good margin the best strikeout rate in franchise history for a career.
And I think it just kind of goes to show what we saw from Connor Menez. He was able to carve up batters that he saw across the Eastern League in pretty much every start. He had 9 strikeouts a couple of times, a couple of 8 strikeout starts, and he kept the walks down. So for Connor Menez, it was really a matter of when, not if, that he was going to go to Sacramento at some point this season, and he earned that right to go back to his home state of California just a couple of weeks ago.
Caleb Berger may be moving into that place as the ace of this pitching rotation for the Flying Squirrels. A newer member of the team. He didn't start the year in Richmond, but he's here now. 2-0 with a 2.15 ERA over his last 5 starts.
Yeah, in some ways, he's kind of taken the southpaw ace mantle from Connor Menez. Caleb Berger, a fellow left-hander, and he's been as consistent as can be over his 6 starts with the Flying Squirrels. In each of them, he's gone at least 5 innings and allowed 3 earned runs or fewer, which is really all you can ask for out of a starting pitcher.
Keep it in the starting rotation. Keep it with left-handers. Garrett Williams has had a rocky season. The beginning was pretty solid, and then as the season went on, he ended up accumulating a few walks here and there, but he's kind of straightened that out some now, and he's put together back-to-back scoreless starts.
Yeah, 6 scoreless innings against the Portland Sea Dogs, 5 scoreless innings against the Harrisburg Senators. That's now 11 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings for Garrett Williams dating back to June 1st. The walks have been up a little bit, but he's also gotten some great help from his defense. He rolls a lot of double plays. He gets a lot of ground balls, and coupled with the walks, that leads to good things for Garrett Williams.
Let's keep it in the rotation. We go to a right-handed pitcher, Brandon Beachy, who's got quite a story. He made the major leagues, one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball after not even being drafted. After his college career, he was primarily a third baseman. Injuries hit him for several years. He's back now in affiliated baseball for the first time since 2016. Missed some time again this year with an injury, had a calf problem, but he's back in the rotation now. He's made a few starts, and he's looking to be the Brandon Beachy we saw in the big leagues 5 to 8 years ago.
And we're starting to see the Brandon Beachy that we saw in the big leagues 5 to 8 years ago. The things that he's been working on in the bullpen and on the mound, just trying to get back to being more consistent so far this season. And since he's come back from that injury, we're starting to see that sharp breaking stuff that we saw Brandon Beachy have at the major league level back in 2011, 2012.
In the bullpen, we got to talk about Melvin Adone. weekly reference of Melvin Adone. He's still throwing 102 miles per hour. He still has what we've now found out is a curveball that's coming
not
at
a slider. It's a
86
curveball.
to 88 miles per hour, and he's got the now he's added himself a 90+ mile per hour slider.
Yeah, as if he needed another tool in his toolbox to get going on the mound. He's got that 100+ mile an hour fastball. Now what we understand is an 88 mile an hour curveball and that sharp slider. That's nasty.
Second half starts up this coming week when the Flying Squirrels are on the road in Trenton, and we'll see if they can make a run to getting back toward the postseason in 2019.
When we come back on Flying Squirrels Insider, we'll go to Professor Natasha. She's got a lesson for Nutsy about pitching. That comes your way next.
Hi, I'm Nutsy here with Professor Natasha in the Flying Squirrels Science Lab to learn all about the how behind baseball.
That's right, Nutsy. Baseball is a simple game made possible by fascinating science. Today, we will learn about one of the great mysteries of pitching, the curveball.
The curveball was created by a pitcher named Candy Cummings back in 1867. Legend has it he could never use it in games because no one knew how to field it. The curveball is one of the hardest pitches to hit because it looks like a regular pitch until it's almost to the batter. Then it curves or breaks to the inside or outside of the plate, giving the batter only a fraction of a second to react. If you aren't ready for it, you won't hit it.
I can hit it because science is my ally. Once we understand how it works, we can recognize it and adapt.
How could they possibly adjust in time?
By keeping our eye on the ball, of course. To throw a curveball, the pitcher grips the seam and, as the ball is released, pushes very hard on that seam with their fingers to make the ball spin. This sideways spinning creates an interesting reaction in the air around the ball. When a ball is thrown, it has three major physical forces acting at the same time. One is velocity, or how hard the pitcher threw the ball. The second is gravity, which holds us to the floor and pulls the ball toward the ground. The harder the pitcher threw the ball, the longer it can resist gravity pulling it down. Third is drag, caused by friction as the ball passed through the air.
Is this where the spin comes in?
Right. When the ball is spinning, it forces air on one side to pass quickly, and the other side, getting all the friction, does not go as fast. Whichever direction the ball is spinning is the direction it will curve.
Okay, like a canoe. If both sides paddle at the same rate, it goes straight. If one side paddles faster than the other, the boat curves.
That's a great way to think of it. In physics, it's called the Magnus effect. And it's one of the principles that helped us learn to make airplanes.
Wow, thanks for the awesome lesson, Professor Natasha. If you have a baseball science question, contact us on Twitter at @GoSquirrels, #SquirrelsScience.
We're here with Flying Squirrels infielder Brandon Van Horn. Brandon, thanks so much for taking some time to join us today.
For sure, yeah.
Brandon is an infielder for the Richmond Flying Squirrels. He's in his first season at AA, and he's bounced around a little bit this year. You've spent some time. You started in Richmond. You went to San Jose. You went to Sacramento. You came back to Richmond. You've been flying cross country quite a bit this year. How's that been?
Yeah, actually a lot of fun. You know, you don't expect anything like that going into spring training, but when you get your opportunities in this game, I think gotta take advantage of them, and been fortunate enough to see 3 different levels of baseball this year, and hopefully we can stay here for a while.
AAA, you got there for the first time in your career, and you had some success over your short run there. What was that like facing guys who are one step away from the big leagues or have been to the big leagues, and you yourself being right there at that level in that mix?
Yeah, it was awesome. I think at first, you know, you just want to contribute, and then after that, the guys up there were great, and I've gotten to know some of them over the years just being in the organization, and they helped me out a lot, especially the older guys, just kind of getting comfortable and helped me play my game up there, and I was fortunate enough to have some success while I was there.
It's your first season here in Richmond. What do you think of the city and everything so far?
It's awesome. San Jose is really cool, and they take care of us really well, but this is definitely a step up, and you always hear about it, especially being a younger guy in the organization. Richmond is the farthest away, but it's a lot of fun, and Parney and everybody does a great job, and the fans are amazing.
If you have an off day in Richmond, what are you doing?
Sleeping.
That's it, just the whole day?
No, I know a couple of guys have gone to D.C., and that's something that I want to do, but I'm a big food guy, especially being from back home in L.A. Yeah, so definitely have been knocking that out, and this past off day, a couple of us, we got out and tried some different places, and it's really good.
Well, long road trip right before that, and was it 10 games in 11 days? How do you pass the time when you're having to travel around some of these long bus rides?
Sleeping, reading. I know I just picked that up. Courtesy, shout out Gio Brusa. He's got me reading, and trying to keep in touch with people back home, especially for us West Coast guys. Like for instance, last night you got buddies or just people back home, and they're 3 hours behind. So when we're asleep, stuff's going on back there. So it gives you a chance to catch up with all the friends and family and everybody back home. That's what I like to do.
After your movement shake-up going up and down the ladder there for a few weeks, you seem to have settled in at the plate quite a bit. You seem to have settled in nicely at shortstop. How do you feel about how your season is going at this point as we approach the halfway point of this 2019 season?
Yeah, definitely a crazy start, and got off to a hot start, which is nice, and then came out here, and I think it's trying to do a little bit too much, and trying to be something that I'm not, and talking with Willie and Lipso and Mo and a couple of the guys coming in town, it's been nice to kind of breathe and relax and just kind of do what the game asked me to do, and it's allowed me to have some success, especially defensively.
Brandon Van Horn, he's one of the one of the characters of the clubhouse, that's for sure. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're not done with you yet. We're going to get out of these chairs. We're going to take to FSI Field in a few minutes and talk some defense. But first, more coming up next on Flying Squirrels Insider.
He's Sam Wolff. I'm Jake Eisenberg. We're going to step out of the box. So Sam, you're a pitcher primarily. Don't find yourself in the batter's box too often. Last time you were in the batter's box?
Oh, geez, that would have been 2011, I believe, at College of Southern Nevada. Got a couple at bats when I was in junior college, and that was the last time.
Still waiting for that first professional at bat?
Yeah, still waiting.
Your dad was a big leaguer with the Padres. He started his career in Spokane with the Indians. You started your career with the Spokane Indians. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it was. It was ironic. I had no idea that he started his career there. So when I found out I was going to Spokane, he said, I played there at one point, and it was just such a coincidence that we both started our careers there.
All right, what does Sam Wolff like to do on an off day?
Usually my wife and I like to take our dog out, to a dog park, let him run. He's a little 1-year-old black lab, not little, he's about 85 pounds. So just enjoy ourselves, relax, kind of get away from the field and have fun.
Now your wife Lauren, you guys have been married for about 2 years now. Where was the honeymoon?
We went to Mexico. We went right outside Cancun. We actually won our honeymoon on a raffle. My wife Lauren was playing soccer at University of New Mexico, and just so happened we bought a ticket for the raffle, and next thing you know we won, looked at it, we got married in November, we saw it was going to expire in December. We're like, well, let's go, let's use it.
All right, so maybe on the honeymoon, maybe other places you've done some karaoke. What's the go-to karaoke song for Sam Wolff?
Oh, Billy Joel, Piano Man.
Oh, sure. Love it. We gotta sing a few bars, right?
Yeah.
You want to just take it from the chorus?
Yeah. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight.
We'll let Billy take the rest. I think singing some Billy Joel, probably a good place to tie a bow on this one, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've gone out of the box. He's Sam Wolff. I'm Jake Eisenberg. We'll see you next time.
We always say that if you're marketing a minor league baseball team, you're doing it right if people don't know what the score is when they leave. if they still had a good time and you lost 12-2, you're doing a good job of how you run the organization. However, we love those guys across the hallway. We love the manager, we love the coaches, we love the players. So we'd much rather win than lose, obviously. 2011 and 2014, we made the playoffs. 2014, I feel like we really came close. Daryl Madej is a name that pops out. I mean, he made just about every big moment in Flying Squirrels history from a pitcher standpoint. He pitched opening night. He was part of the first only no-hitter in Squirrels history. 2014, Hunter Strickland was on that team. He's gone on to have a great career. Josh Osich, the pitching, I remember being amazing.
He sets, and the 3-2 is swung on and missed, strike three. Osich goes above the zone with a 97-mile-per-hour fastball to strike out Brett Tanos.
Here's what I remember about Richmond, Virginia, and the playoffs. You go around to minor league baseball and you say playoffs to a lot of people, they'll be like, we don't draw well in the playoffs. The kids are back in school. You never know when they get. Our first playoff game, I don't remember the exact number, but it was like 9,000 people came to our first playoff game. I mean, it was amazing. And you walked out on that field for the very first playoff game in team history, and you could literally feel it in your bones. Like, you knew that game was for some marbles, right? It was for the marbles. And I've always said we haven't won the championship yet, but there's going to be some economic stimulus that's going to go on when we do, because we're going to have a good time and it's going to be great. And I can't wait to see how Richmond, Virginia responds to the Squirrels and the pride that they have in the Squirrels, even more so when there's a championship won on the field. In my mind, we've won many championships off the field, you know, with the attendance records and 10 straight sellouts on opening night. Off the field, we've won a bunch of championships. It'll be fun for people to have the pride in their hometown team winning the championship whenever that happens, and I'm sure it'll happen someday. It's been remarkable to see how the community has grown. I think the life that we've pumped into here through our exuberance, through our energy, through our enthusiasm, through our very sincere passion to make Richmond a better place, I think this made Richmond a better place, which is awesome.
And we're back here at FSI Field. We're joined by Flying Squirrels infielder, primarily a shortstop, Brandon Van Horn, and shortstop for a day, getting the call up to Double-A, Jake Eisenberg. We'll see how you do. Yeah. We're going to talk about some infield defense. Specifically, we're going to talk about turning double plays and the communication between the second baseman and the shortstop, such as yourself. So how important is it for you to communicate well with whoever you have playing second base on a given day when you're trying to turn a double play?
Oh, it's really the number one thing. I think that's how it happens. It's especially outside of the routine. Of course, you know, we have so much time and so much experience doing it. There's not too much going on a routine double play between me and Jalen, or me and Will, or me and Jonah on any given day. But anything that stretches outside of that routine boundaries, communication is definitely number one.
Let's take a look at a pretty routine one. We're going to do the old 6 to 4 to 3 double play. Okay. So ground ball to short. We've got Noah here.
Ground ball coming at me. Probably just want to make sure of the first out, number one. First and foremost, whether it's coming from shortstop, second base, or first base, the only job for the guy fielding it is just get the first out, right? Because old cliche goes, you can't get two without getting one.
That's right.
When the second baseman's coming over, where should he be setting up on the bag?
Usually I would say just sitting with your left foot on the base, and then wherever the feed takes you. So if I was to give you one on the backside or something up the line, you can just take your right foot towards the ball, and that'll give you a chance to use the base as protection and also get off some type of an athletic throw.
Let's get another ground ball over here to Brandon Van Horn at shortstop.
Okay. So I'll give you one kind of up the line there. And that to me, that's not a usual feed, but you know, me and Jalen kind of been playing together for a while, and I know that he's able to make a turn on the run, almost Robinson Cano style, and also he kind of likes it when it's leading him up the line. So for somebody that I haven't played with in a while, I'd probably just kind of want to give it somewhere around their heart. But for you know, we've been playing for a while, and Jalen, I'll give him a little feed so he's got a little momentum going.
Let's talk about a 4 to 6 to 3 double play, a ground ball to the second baseman, and one gets hit to Jake here. What are you doing on this?
Okay, I'm just going to hang out kind of around the bag. A couple of years ago, the way I was taught when I was younger is to be able to catch it first and then come across and almost kick the bag and throw it. But nowadays with like instant replay and all that stuff and high leverage, high pressure situations, you really want to make sure that I have every cleat I have, on the base. So I'm just going to hang out here about as simple as I can and just try to trust that I can be quick enough to finish off the
ground ball to second and have
as
Van
our
Horn here.
stand-in second baseman right here. Where am I trying to hit you with the
just
feet?
somewhere inside of my chest and inside of my shoulders.
So I'm just going to try and shovel it right there.
Right, and then that's all you have to worry about, and I'll be able to I'll take care of it from there.
You get a ball close to the base. You and the second baseman are both coming in at the same time. If we could get one hit kind of towards second base here, Noah. Thank you. So what are you two communicating? How are you two?
It's probably just going to sound like a loud scream, to be honest. I mean, you have whatever 8,000-10,000 people. It's going to be tough to just say, like, I got the ball and I'm going to touch the base at the same time. That's not really realistic. So it'd be some type of just loud yell or communication. And then for me, fielding it, it's always going to be easier for me to throw it, even if it's an off balance on the run type of throw, because I'm going towards the base, as opposed for the second baseman for me to give it to him. And now your momentum's taking you towards third, and you got to twist your body and throw it to first.
Let's get back into position. One more ball hit at the second base bag, and we'll see these two coming at it. All right.
Oh, okay.
He's going to play it. You got
and
it.
Then throw
and
it
on
first.
to first. All right. And that's how you do it. That's how you turn a double play.
Yeah.
Brandon Van Horn, shortstop and infielder for the Richmond Flying Squirrels. Thanks so much for helping us learn a little bit about how to turn two, get the old twin killing, the pitcher's best friend, as they say. Yeah. You guys have been turning quite a few of those of late. Right. Thanks to Jake Eisenberg. Thanks to our entire crew. Thanks to Noah for rolling the baseballs out. We'll talk to you next time on Flying Squirrels Insider.
Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by
Secure Testing Services, providing 24-hour on-site drug and alcohol testing for businesses. And by
Smell gas? Act fast. Don't just stand there. Leave the area. Get out. Go where the smell is no longer present and call 911. Making you aware, keeping you safe. We're Richmond's Natural Gas Safety Awareness Program.